The Zohar talks about the fact that God created the world with the letter Beis. And the Talmud tells us that God created the world with the letter Hey. And we asked earlier, which one is it? Did He create the world with a Beis, or did God create the world with a Hey? And the answer I saw is as follows. If you take a look at the letter Beis, the letter Beis is surrounded by 3 walls, and it's got one opening on the left side. And that basically means that you're either in the box or you're getting out of the box. But there's only one way in or out. You're either in here or you're out of here. There's no other options. And that represents being in that world where God has kind of confined us in the way in which He hid Himself within the world, in which if we don't learn how to look beyond it, we can't find God. All we see is that everything is hidden, can't see God's presence. But there's another way that God created the world. God also created the world with the letter Hey. The letter Hey, you'll notice, has 2 openings. One opening on the same side as the letter Beis has an opening, and it's also got another opening on the bottom. And that tells us as follows. We start off right here in the middle of the world like everybody else does. But we can go out, come around, and come in from another angle. We're not limited to just a world that's right here and either we're in or out. But we have the ability to step out of the world as it looks from our superficial understanding of the world in which God hid Himself, and we can come back into the world from another angle and have a chance to experience and see the world from a different way, the way in which you can see God in the world, as opposed to the first way in which you're totally confined and you can't see God whatsoever. And after seeing this idea, an interesting concept hit me. Because if you take a look in Kabbalistic works that discuss Hebrew letter forms, you might not be aware, I'm just going to get slightly off track over here, but there are quite a number of Kabbalistic works that discuss at great length the meaning of each and every Hebrew letter, down to give you the symbolism of in the letter Beis, well, the line like this means one thing, and a line up means something else, a line sticking out means something else, and therefore you combine all 3 of them together, and this is the power of the letter Beis. They mamish go through every single letter of the Aleph Beis, painstakingly explaining to you the power behind each letter based on exactly how the letter is formed. So one concept which I've seen in those Kabbalistic works is that as you're looking at the letter, the left side of the letter always represents north. Now, if that's true, north, the direction of north. If you wanted to see the direction of which way the letters are facing, as you're looking at a letter, left of a letter is north. Now, first of all, one thing that hit me is that there's a pasuk, a verse that says, Mitzafon tipasach haro'ah, that from the north is where evil comes. And again, without getting into a lengthy explanation of exactly what that means, but that to begin with fits in well with this, because I'm suggesting over here that the letter Beis represents the world in which you don't see God. It's only open to the north. That's the world, basically the world of evil, because a world without God is by definition going to be a world of evil. But if this direction is north, then what side is this? That's the west. So it's hitting me all of a sudden that you can get out on the north side. What side can you come back in on? You can come back in on the west side. Now, this isn't just go west, young man. But what was hitting me over here is that to me all of a sudden I saw this as symbolizing the Kosel Ma'aravi the Western Wall. And if you think about it for a moment, in the 31 years since we merited to get back the Western Wall in Jerusalem, how many people have gone west to the Western Wall, and from their experiences there at the Western Wall, ended up coming closer to God, coming closer to Judaism, and renewing and reawakening their relationship with God and with Judaism? So to me, I was realizing that it's actually very appropriate and very symbolic in terms of the fact that that opening is in the West. Because yes, go west, young man. Go to the Western Wall. Go there and experience God, and through the West, you can end up re-entering the world. Leave that world of the bays, the materialistic world, the secular world where you don't see God. Walk out to the evil north, but come back around through what the Western Wall represents. And all of a sudden, you have a chance in which you can experience the world of the Echad, the world of where you can see and sense the oneness, the uniqueness, and the singularity of God at all times.